My framework is care, comfort first, ask in layers, respond with curiosity, and then exit with care.
The biggest mistake that wedding filmmakers make doesn't happen on the wedding day. It actually happens months before they press record. We spend years learning cameras, lenses, lighting, editing, but almost no one teaches us how to uncover the story. Because without the story, even the prettiest images can fall flat.
If you do it well, this is when the wedding videographer earns the title of wedding filmmaker. What do they actually give a shit about, and what makes a relationship strong?
Today, Shyah K Films breaks down his framework for turning a conversation into a generational story. This is the How to Film Wedding Show.
I always tell my couples that the backstory session, aka the interview, achieves two things. Is one, it gives your video far more depth and more of your story. But then two, it's nice to have a relationship with the stranger you're inviting into your wedding. And when you reframe the importance of this, couples are more willing to do it, even if they're awkward in front of the camera. Like, you know, your last guest, Kyle, was saying like couples don't want to be in front of the camera. So never say it's an interview, because interviews are hella awkward, but conversations are natural. So I tell my couples, hey, I want to meet up with you. It'd be nice to see you in person, to see how tall you are, just crack some jokes. And then you're just going to sit with me for 20 minutes. And it's going to be a natural conversation. The first step for the creatives listening, they need to establish comfort first. I have my framework is care, comfort first, ask in layers, respond with curiosity, and then exit with care. So the first C is comfort. When you're invited into someone's house, don't just set up right away and do the interview. It's comment on their decor, pet their dog. You know, if they're offering you a Coke because that's on your branding, you get, oh my God, you're so wonderful. And then just shoot the shit for a little bit before you sit them down with your list of questions that ChatGPT gave you. And that takes a lot of practice, how to have people comfortable. And if people aren't comfortable, they're not going to give you the juice that we want. And honestly, if there's anyone listening that does commercial, you want them to be comfortable as well. It's high stakes. You have to get them cozy. Yeah. It's the comfortable atmosphere, but then also starting with questions where the answers will be familiar to them. So for example, a lot of my couples, their grandparents are really important to them. And if they're not around anymore, I eventually want to get them to, what's it like knowing grandma is not going to be around at your wedding? I want that juice and a little bit of heartbreak. But start with something familiar when you open the interview. How did you meet? What was it like? What do you like about your fiance? How would you describe your fiance? And eventually, I call them softball questions. Just get them talking and comfortable with you, because that comfort will create openness. And then once you have a relationship that you've just established, because you've only seen them online, then you can eventually lead them into, so you mentioned family is important. That's a mutual value. Once you get to family, then you can be oh, okay, here's the deep question. You don't want to start an interview with, so tell me about grandma. That's not the first question. You don't start with a hardball question. They're not going to cry and give you, it's tell me about each other. What's your origin story? How did you meet, blah, blah, blah. And eventually create that comfort and familiarity so that you can get to those deep questions. Because I love tears. I love seeing the tears on wedding backstory sessions, and because that creates depth. So when you lift them out of it at the reception content, it's way higher, because deep down, they're missing their family, but look at this joy. So creating familiarity and comfort before you move into the hardball. And that's where the ask in layers thing comes from. It's start easy before you move them to, what's it like that your grandma won't be around? Which is a solid question. Sometimes we get to understand their story or see their story with archival footage. They're going to send photos from their first date and whatnot. But how can you utilize your little interview backstory sesh to get content or dialogue that matches the archival footage. And something that I really want creatives to know, videographers, is like, you need to remove you need to remove yourself from like the list of questions that you have and come in with some curiosity too. And this is the R in care. It's respond with curiosity. So if you saw them like, oh, they went to like Burning Man, how the heck do you eventually get to Burning Man? You could just say, so tell me about that time in Burning Man, which would be really cool. But if they say, oh, we've had really great times together, and you could say, well, what does Burning Man mean to you? Tell me about your experiences there. And don't just move on from learning more and remove on from the opportunity of depth just because you got your answer. So, for example, I'm going to go back to grandma just because that's what I know well. Like, if someone tells me, like, I'm going to miss my grandma, and eventually I want to learn more about that, I could say, well, what were some of your favorite things to do with her? Or like, how was she a role model? Just like, I have genuine curiosity to learn about the person. And then if bride says, oh, we used to bake all the time and I love that, now I have photos of that and I have context, and now I can slap that into the video and you get context. So if videographers have a list of questions that they want to get through and they're leading them on this emotional journey, like, I encourage them to step off a little bit and dive deeper. If someone says, oh, we had a long distance relationship for 14 months. Well, was it challenging? Tell me more about that. And then you're getting more depth. And it's also like, not just, I see this all the time, asking yes and no questions versus open-ended questions. Were you sad that your grandma's not going to be around? Yes, I am sad. Versus, what's it going to be like when you're at the ceremony and you have that chair with grandma's name on it? Then it's like the emotional flood, and you're allowing the person to explain their feelings. And now when you get that B-roll, you actually know the significance of that empty chair and the significance of that person in your couple's life. And you're leading them on this emotional journey and getting the tears. I'm like, oh, heck yeah, like that's going in the trailer or the teaser or whatever.
So I've been a wedding filmmaker for 13 years, and one of the biggest challenges for me was trying to find an outsourcing team that could really help me, like truly help me. Now, when you're an artist, when you're very creative and you have a very specific process, it can be difficult to find someone that can edit like you, that can turn your films, your footage, into the same product that you would. And it's never going to be perfect, but what I will say about Uncut Gems is they do such an incredible job of matching your style, matching your tone, and eliminating that friction that a lot of us solo wedding videographers face. And that is, of course, the pressure, the burnout, the frustration during backlog season where we're having to be creative week in, week out, and it just doesn't leave room for rest. And that's where outsourcing is just such a huge benefactor for us as wedding videographers. It's not a one size fits all. It's not the end all be all solution. It's a tool, it's a resource when you need it. And Uncut Gems is the company that I recommend, not because they're sponsoring this video, but because I actually use them. I have tested their services for 3 years, and they do an incredible job of alleviating that stress, that pressure, giving me films back that feel like my brand, Wayward North, and that truly give me time back in the day to focus on other aspects of the business. So if you're interested in checking out Uncut Gems, I will leave a link down in the description. They have been kind enough to offer you guys 60% off on your first edit when you use the code HTFW. So you can kick that backlog in the face and get back to being excited about your business.
And you can be prepared and you have your notes and everything, but be ready to go off script. And sometimes the couple will mention something, about proposing on these sand dunes. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to write a note. And then after, I'm going to ask them a few more questions, but then I'll send an email saying, can you please send me content or like imagery, media about that? But it's the curiosity that allowed them to elaborate, and it's going to give us more stories. And that's when the videographer becomes the filmmaker, whatever you want to title yourself. But it's how do you find, like, how do you tell a story? You need sound bites, but you have to walk them there if you know what the sound bite is. And then even more importantly, Jared, is like, if you walk them somewhere vulnerable where they're talking about grief or loss, like, you have a responsibility to pull them out of it. And like, this is where the E comes in the framework. So it's exit with care. Like, how do you, as a videographer or an interviewer, pull someone out of a vulnerable state after you directed them there for the soundbite for the couple's film? But it's like, now you have a responsibility to pull them out. So I want to, like, how do you do it? Like, what do you do after people start crying? Because it's like, I gotta leave their house and they have groceries to do in a couple hours, you know what I mean? But the thing was, like, once you resolve that emotion, you're doing a couple things. One is for the couple. Like, if you didn't resolve that and you just kind of ended and she was still feeling grief about her grandmother, and then she goes grocery shopping and sees the grandma holding her granddaughter's hand, like, that loss is still going to be very, like, visceral. But if you transition out of it, you don't just get resolution for the couple, you get resolution for your story. Then it's, you know, I know she's going to be with me looking over us, and I just can't wait to celebrate with all my people as if she's right there. Now you have the soundbite for your story as well, or for their story, sorry. So I like to have segues and then pull them out of it. And then once they say, oh yeah, I can't wait to be on the dance floor, then you can move into all the other fun topics. So I think there really is a responsibility that if you lead people into somewhere difficult, find a way to pull them out of it organically, not just like hard cut, because humans aren't like that. Have body language that mirrors them too. So it's when people are joyful and they're talking about getting lit with their best friend, lean in, be exciting. But once it's like a little bit sentimental, keep that eye contact and, like, get ready to be on an emotional ride and see them where they are. And that, when you see them on the wedding day, you will have that chemistry because you went on a journey with them. And it's a beautiful thing that we get to do if you do it right and you do it well.